Hello and welcome to the Whirly Bloke channel. If you're looking for a really well made, reliable, well tuned, sub 250 gram, full 4K HD quad that's great fun, then this CinePro 4K from GEPRC is probably just what you're looking for. I've seen and flown loads of quads over the last couple of years, and it's clear there's a pattern emerging on different manufacturers' offerings. Exciting new bind and fly quads appear almost weekly, which mostly work, but you get quite a big percentage that's either dead on arrival, not quite working, or need lots of tweaking. Now, I understand this completely. These quads, particularly 2 and 3 inch, have got lots of stuff squeezed in here that's tricky to get right in production. So QAing these is time consuming and a tricky thing to get right. But what makes GEPRC stand out is their repeatable quality. They've made some really interesting quads over the years, and in my experience they all do exactly what they say on the tin. This CinePro 4K has been available for a while now, and I've been hanging back on this review and mainly just flying it loads because it's fantastic. If you check out this footage, you'll see what I mean. This is one of my early test flights, and this is straight out of the box. All I needed to do was bind it, do a few idiot checks, plug a battery in and fly it. Changed nothing. Everything worked first time. No interference on the FP video, so it's all fantastically set up. And here I'm looking for things like yaw washout and other annoying behaviour you get on these small ducted quads, and it's just not there. No vibrations on hard punch out and no weird duct-induced wobbles. There's a bit of prop wash on the long vertical drops followed by full power, but nothing you can't fly around or maybe just tune out. And importantly, you can fly this around smoothly and close to the ground, which is what you need from a Cinewhoop. With a Tattoo 650 mAh 4S lipo, I've been getting around 4 minutes flight time, but it depends how you fly it, obviously. As usual with smaller ducted quads, you haven't got the mass of a 5 inch to throw around, although it's not too bad, and it will get caught by the wind, particularly crosswinds. The image of the goggles and the HD footage is what I've come to expect from the Cadex Tarsier, and again, this is set up right out of the box. I have some issues with the Tarsier that I suspect will be fixed in the next version, but for now this is a much better solution than a split type camera. So let's take a closer look at the CinePro. GEPRC seem to have recycled their Signet 2 inch frame, which is a great frame, so there's nothing wrong with that. And because it's an H frame, it won't get props appearing in the FPV or the HD view. It's quite nice. And the Signet is like a mini Armatan frame in some ways. It uses these cast alloy parts on the front and the rear, and these protect the camera quite nicely. And these double countersunk bolts are very reminiscent of Armatan frames, and this makes it really strong, but it's not heavy. So look what we've got. So that is 134 grams with no battery. So I've got a Tattoo 650 4S. With that on, it is 203 grams, and I've got the AC 650 here as well, which is a bit heavier, a bit bigger, 75C, and that brings it into, let's see, 221 grams. So it's well under 250 grams. Now, you can order this with either no receiver, a FlySky XM Plus, RXSR, the FlySky R9mm, Crossfire Nano, FlySky or Spectrum, and I opted for the TBS Crossfire. And the antenna for that is very nicely mounted in this clever 3D printed TPU mount at the back. And if you look carefully, it's also got the buzzer in there, and on the other side the low ESR capacitor, and it's all very neatly fitted in. There's a couple of LEDs in there as well. So basically it means there's nothing loose or dangling around inside the frame. It's just another nice touch from GEPRC. And these ducts, they look like they're made from polycarbonate, and they're pretty tough, and they've got a bit of give as well, so they don't look like they're going to break anytime soon. But as we know, in the world of quads, everything eventually breaks. Now, one of my pre-maiden flight checks is to make sure all the bolts and the nuts and the motors and everything are tight, and there was nothing loose on this, which is reassuringly as it should be. Up front we've got the Tarsier, and it's mounted in this alloy frame here, and you can move the camera up and down very easily. I'll just loosen those off. And just behind there is the board for the Tarsier and its DVR. And the only small problem is getting the SD card in and out. If you look here, it's slightly lower than the duct, so you have to push the duct down a bit to get that SD card in and out. And on the other side is the Wi-Fi button and the start and stop recording, but they're pretty easy to get up. Back here is the 20x20 flight stack. This is their GEPRC Pro F7 dual stack, and you can get this with an F405 or the F722 if you want, and I went for the F722 version. The flight controller, which is the middle board in this stack here, is an STM32 F722. It's got a dual ICM 2689 gyro setup, 32 meg of BlackBox storage. There's the AT7456E chip on here, which is for the onboard BetaFlight OSD, and that uses IRC tramp protocol. And you'll need the EXF722 dual target build of BetaFlight. And this is currently flashed with BetaFlight 3.5.7, which is the last version that came out on 3.5. And you also get a massive 5 UARTs on here. So you've got 3 free to add GPS or whatever else you want on here. In the bottom here is their 4-in-1 ESC. It's based on an STM32 F051, and that will give you 35 amps continuous and 45 amps burst. It's all BL Heli 32, and it supports up to D-Shot, 1200, one-shot and multi-shot. And according to the specs, all these will run off 2 to 6S lipos, but I'm not sure these motors will be up to 6S. And these are GEP GR1105 5000 kV, which are spec'd for 4S. And they seem pretty good, not too notchy. And you get some EMAX AVAN 2-inch and DalProp Q2035 props. For me, it flies a little bit better with the EVANs than the DalProps. And on the top of the stack here, you can see clearly is the stable Pro VTX. They're all branded stable for some reason. This is a 48 channel, and it's got PIT 25, 100, 200, 400, and very weirdly 500 milliwatt switchable power settings. And this is all wired internally to UART2 that uses Tramp Smart Audio, so you can change the channel and the power settings using the BetaFlight OSD as normal. But I'm not sure how you'd select 500 milliwatts. I'll need to look into that. And at the back here is a simple dipole RG178 video antenna, and it's got an MCX connector, which I really do like, nice and secure. And this all fits in the back with the crossfire antenna, the low ESR capacitor, and the micro buzzer that you can see a bit more clearly in there, and some very pretty LEDs mounted in there as well. And it's little things like GEPRC used nice quality fabric tape to neatly hold the motor wires in place. It's much better than zip ties because it just doesn't dig into the wires. So let's have a quick look and see how this is set up in BetaFlight. Let's connect to the quad, and we'll just check that it's all looking good. Okay, reset Z-axis and calibrate the accelerometer. Excellent. Have a look at the ports. You've got the USB port here, don't touch that or you won't be able to talk to the flight controller. UART 1 is free, UART 2 is being used for smart audio, which is IRC tram protocol. UART 3 is free, UART 4 is being used for Serial RX, which is our Crossfire. Okay, and UART 5 is free, so you could connect GPS to 1, 3 or 5 if you wanted to, or anything else. Configuration, as I said, this is straight out of the box. This comes configured, ready with Crossfire. Yep, so I ordered it with the TBS Crossfire Nano receiver, and it's been set up correctly with Crossfire serial. That's great. Telemetry turns on, transponder, OSD. Yep, this all looks good. D-Shot 1200. Loop times are set to 8K. So I'll assume that GEPRC know what they're doing. Power and battery. I'll leave that as it is, but I tend to set mine a little bit lower. Failsafe is set to drop. That's great. PID tuning, I haven't touched this other than adding a little bit of expo, which I like. I may tweak the rates a little bit later on, but this is actually set quite high, 1200 degrees a second. Receiver, I haven't got my radio connected. All I had to do was create a new model on my Taranis, and in the Crossfire setup I've used channel 9, which is AUX 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that transmits the link quality back from the Crossfire back to the radio. And the beauty of that is link quality comes back as 0 to 100. So modes, everything was set up on here. The only thing I changed was air mode, which I like to have on when I'm in acro and off at all other times, and I turned on flip over after crash. None of this has changed. OSD, I've just moved these around to where I like them. I've set the RSSI here. It's not really RSSI, it's actually set up to be link quality, and I put an alarm in at 80. 80 is a warning on link quality for Crossfire, and 70 you really need to be turning around and coming back. Nothing strange there. LED strip, this has already been programmed by GEPRC, and we've got some pretty patterns that come out the back. That's great. And if we look in the CLI and check version, we are on 3.5.7, which is the last 3.5 version. So very little to do other than changing a couple of things to do with the telemetry on Crossfire and setting some of my flight modes. That was it. Inevitably, there are a couple of really small issues. These battery straps that GEPRC supply, well, they're pretty poor, to be honest. I don't really get why manufacturers don't supply quality battery straps. It can't cost much. Well, I guess Diatone supplies some good ones. And this SD card is a little bit fiddly to get in and out because the ducts are in the way, but neither of these is the end of the world, to be honest. The only other thing is the Tarsier camera itself. It's good, but it's got various issues. I'll be covering my experiences in detail with this dual sensor camera in another video. I've been using it for a couple of months on various quads, and don't get me wrong, it's a great idea and is definitely the future. Well, DJI accepted, but this is version 1 and it needs some work, and I'm waiting to see what version 2 brings. So there we have it, a very pretty, well-made, sub 250 gram quad that really does fly well out of the box. Everything works, and other than binding the receiver, you can just go and fly it. And you get full 4K HD video. So what else could you want? So at GEPRC, you get a solid 8 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks for watching, and if you found that useful, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. And if it's your first visit, then please consider subscribing to the channel for updates. I'll see you next time.